seconds remaining. Here's the Radiant ban.
Dire's ban now.
Radiant's turn to ban.
The Dire get a ban.
Here's the Radiant ban.
Excuse me.
Dire's ban now.
Radiant's turn to pick.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 of this best of 3 series between Tom and Lotac. It is, of course, MLP Dota, joined by John X5. John, have you noticed any static on the microphone?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, but I didn't notice it on the stream. I did mention we met. We talked about this yesterday, didn't we? In our downtime.
Oh, yes. That was only between you and me.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
Why is it on the stream as well? I didn't quite notice, Mike.
Dire's turn to pick.
I haven't seen anyone else really say anything, but somebody did. Unfortunately, I don't have much time to test because the game literally just started. Alright, well look, let's go into the draft. I'll have a look while we're looking into the draft to see if there's anything going on in the background that I could change up. Tigers though, John. Earthshaker the pickup, Lotac go for the silencer.
Yeah, good counter to the Earthshaker. As long as you get the jump first, you can always make sure that the Echo Slam does not come out. And, that's always pretty strong. We've seen silencers do a lot of work in the past few days, really. We've seen it pop out every now and again. And despite having a rough early game where you don't really stack up the int, you're always going to be relevant with Global Silence. It's also a pretty good laning support, just a really good amount of harass, forcing people to pop too much regen to really sustain the lane, and, just bullying people out of lane that way. So, a good hero to pick up. Lotac also goes back to that Necrophos, which has done a lot of work, and still a relatively popular pick, really good. But Tigers goes with the Necrophos counter. Pugna.
Very nice one at that as well. For Ohaiyo, I was watching him the other day playing a Necrophos game, and he was struggling a bit. I imagine with the Earthshaker Pugna, he's not going to have the greatest time in the world either. Then again, I say he was struggling that last game we won, and then turns it around with his pick. Kind of like,
seconds remaining.
He may struggle a bit, but ultimately with the Necro, it's just like, get the Reaper Scythe off on who you need to get it off on, and you'll be... It's fine.
Yeah, definitely so. There is a bit more push coming out from Tigers. The Pugna does push a bit better. Necrophos really doesn't contribute too much to that siege, to the high ground siege, to taking objectives. It just doesn't really do anything to buildings. So they're gonna need someone that can, maybe at least one hero that can really push down buildings. Because this Pugna will also, for a Tiger side, it can melt buildings pretty fast, even with just the Pugna is pretty potent.
Lotac now with the 5th ban, and we'll get to see what the game plan is by the team. I do agree with your sentiment though. Lotac certainly need a hero that can siege well.
10 seconds.
Tigers, they already have it.
5 seconds remaining.
I do like the Nyx ban out. Yeah, I do like the Nyx ban out from Tigers. It's a fairly good hero against the Pugna. Pugna does have a very high int gain. Very easy to stun him with your Spike Carapace. and you can always catch him out with Vendetta as well. Pugna doesn't really do too much against the Nyx, so nice ban out for Tigers, really just protecting their Pugna pick, making sure their counter pick isn't counter picked by Lotac.
Funny thing, Ohaiyo has been banned as well, so if they wanted to, they could run that, well, I mean, I doubt they will, because they've already got the Earthshaker Pugna, but they could have run that Ohaiyo Pugna.
We did see it yesterday, and it's pretty scary. Just the amount of sustain you can pump out to your core, whoever Ohaiyo's teeter to, or if you're memeing, if Ohaiyo teeters to Pugna and you life drain Ohaiyo while he's overcharged, he gets a lot of attack speed, and you really don't lose HP. Neither of you lose HP from life drain. And Ohaiyo can push fast. That's if you run a core Ohaiyo, which is very, very, very rare, Mike.
Yeah, but it is something special when it finally comes out. Don't let the memes
5 seconds remaining. Radiance turn to pick.
follow the meme. Husk coming out from Lotac, so they do have a bit of lockdown. I personally love the Tusk. Obviously we know, John, it has been nerfed a lot, but it's similar to the Earthshaker. You can nerf him as much as you want. The problem really is with the hero is they can change the terrain of the map temporarily.
Yeah, it definitely works out that way. I think the reason why you definitely see Earthshaker much more than Tusk is, as a map-changing spell, Earthshaker's just that much better. In team fights as well, Earthshaker's that much better because of Echo Slam. Tusk, he's been in and out. Really, we saw a lot of him. Sometimes we see him pop back in, but only by a few teams. It's, it's always there in the background, but definitely not in the spotlight like Earthshaker is. I think the potency of shards, its emphasis is really on that early game. Unlike Shaker, where it's definitely much more relevant throughout a longer period of time. The shards are always good, but, it's much easier to block someone off with Fissure.
Tigers now third pickup. Their draft's still it's still very open. It's hard to tell what kind of route they're going to be taking this game. See what their first pickup will be on this Radiant end.
The Tusk into Earthshaker as well is kind of iffy. Like, you can make some big plays by saving someone. At the same time, Echo Slam is near instant cast. So your timing has to be, you have to preempt the slam coming out, and you have to be careful if you snowball in, because you don't want to drag 5 people into Earthshaker in a snowball and then end up getting Echo Slammed. We've seen what happens when you group up in an Echo Slam, Mike.
You're telling me you have to play like FY?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty hard. That level of Tusk is pretty ridiculous, but I'm sure the side of Lotac will pull it off. We do see Tigers, however, a core Prophet, I believe. No, in fact, it could be a support Nature's Prophet, a core Pugna. What do you think? Are they running a core Nature's Prophet?
5 seconds
Hard to say for Southeast Asia. It's been a while since I've seen the Nature's Prophet pick up in C, but I do believe Tigers have been running it every now and again. I want to say that's gonna be a support. It's gonna be Earthshaker and NP on support. But that's a bit greedy. It just doesn't feel right. Because the Earthshaker definitely wants farm, but Nature's Prophet will also be soaking up a lot of farm himself. I don't think that balances right.
5 seconds remaining.
Bring up a quick concern for the side of Lotac. Broodmother's still available, Tiger. So, and I don't see any wave clear for the Spiderling, so that could be pretty painful for Lotac if it's up. I've also got that. I mean, I wouldn't say you want to go Husker, but it's available for that route, but that would probably be not. But the Broodmother seems like it'd be alright in this situation.
Yeah, it would look okay here. I mean, they have the Earthshaker for themselves, they have the Nature's Prophet as well, and the Pugna, so they can apply a lot of map pressure You know, just pushing, taking down towers really fast. Tigers does pick up a Morphling as well, which, you know, it's really potent here. We've seen this here do a lot of work in the Southeast Asian qualifiers. Up against a Terrorblade, it should be happy, I think. You could probably steal Metamorphosis by morphing into Terrorblade, casting Meta, and shifting back to yourself. You keep the buff, so I guess you might be able to keep the damage buff as well. I'm not sure about that one.
Radiant's turn to ban.
Kind of like
really
Black Cannon. It does.
That's gonna hurt if that's the case. I personally haven't seen the Morphling vs Terrorblade matchup too much, so I don't know how that works. Well, we're gonna find out. So at the very least, it gets exciting. Tigers, final ban out now. By the way, Lotac, shout out to them for banning out Tinker. Nobody wants to see Tinker. Probably should.
Radiant's turn to pick.
Husker is the final ban, and Tigers pick up the Kunkka.
Oh boy. Yeah. This is, you know, it's gonna be hard to kill again because that boat buff is immense and you have Pugna for healing. I think the main thing here is that their split push is gonna be really strong. Kunkka can split push as well if he has his own boots of travels. Just X mark himself, go into a lane, shove it out, and go back home. Relatively safe. Until, of course, Lotac buys eyyoouu, and then it's not quite safe. But there's a certain period of time where you can just split push safely as Kunkka. Nature's Prophet split pushes quite well, of course, and the Pugna can shove out lanes quite nicely. So the push potential from Tigers is really good. The durability is there, given by Kunkka. The team fight's there from Earthshaker. Pugna's there with the Nether Ward to really break off any big initiation. And they have really good scaling with Morphling, so I do like Tigers draft this time. It does look much better than game 1, but Lotac goes with the Ohaiyo Batrider.
I mean, I don't want to say weird, but it's just, it feels weird. Like, there's a lot of heroes that aren't necessarily amazing. I don't know, how do you feel about this draft from the Dire side?
It's definitely odd. It's definitely odd, but we did, you know, game 1, their draft was also odd, Mike, and they made it work really well. So I wouldn't doubt Lotac too hard now. Maybe this is something they've practiced in scrims, something they keep pocketed up. I can see it snowballing off in the early game. Definitely stronger in that early game area, I think. But they don't want to force it late. Not against a Morphling. Sure, you have the Terrorblade as well, but I think overall the Morphling just grows much, much bigger than the TB at some point. I don't know, it's a toss-up. Again, it's not a matchup we've seen too much of, Terrorblade against Morphling. At least not much of in a while.
Well, we've got an interesting game.
I just wanted to point out, Mike, it's 1437 Nature's Prophet.
Okay, so support Nature's Prophet.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. Again, because you have Xepher on that Earthshaker, he's gonna have to be making plays as a pause 4, but Nature's Prophet is really not a selfless support.
That is a good point. Like, this is very, it's a greedy lineup. Like, there's no doubting that. Everyone on the team certainly wants quite a bit of farm and level before they really start going. Mind you, later on in the game, yeah, they're going to be a problem. There's no doubting that. But let's see if Tigers can pull this off and push game 3. Otherwise, of course, Lotac, they definitely want to be able to try and take this 2-0. The less games you have to play in the lower bracket, the better. Obviously, they will have more games per day, I believe. So, you want to rest up and see what the other teams are up to.
I like what I see.
I haven't seen much of iNyouRdreaM. I mean, like, Belina is one of his special. Kunkka, I believe we've seen it a couple times. I believe he's pretty darn good at it, but I'm not sure. Do you think he's going to have a bigger influence than what he did in game 1?
I think the Kunkka does have the potential to be that active as well. Once you hit level 6, you should have enough in your kit to burst someone down, for the most part, as long as you have a support to help you out with setting up. If you can't catch them out with, if you don't prioritize X, or you go max Tideburner first, you're gonna need a little help, but once you get that help, it's pretty much a good kill. I can definitely see iNyouRdreaM being active early on with this hero, but it's not as bursty as Lina. Definitely not as bursty.
At last,
Not gonna fight over this bounty.
begin.
Let it go. Top lane, they had a bit of an engagement, but side of the Radiant actually managed to get it. And again, it does look like they're going to start with 3 bounty runes on the side of Tiger. They do end up getting that great start again on the Radiant end. It's just a matter of whether they can transition that into the game now.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty
again,
early to say that anyway.
yeah, it's the same thing in game 1. I mean, as you mentioned, they grabbed 3 bounties. They kind of did okay in the early game, but then just kind of dropped off in the late, so really have to watch out, keep that tempo going.
One is actually the one playing Necro. I assumed it would have been Ohaiyo earlier on in the draft, but this is a mid Necro up against them. Certainly I feel like the right choice, I would argue, because you see a lot of these lane matchups, the Punka ends up dominating whoever he's up against, thanks to that Tidebringer, but Necro is seemingly one of those heroes that doesn't really care.
Yeah, definitely so. As long as Necrophos is not being zoned out of last hits, he can definitely sustain the lane. And, you know, he just needs a few levels to really go a bit wild with regen.
Forces that iNyouRdreaM. Grab that early salve. See how iNyouRdreaM top lane, Raven, trying to get some farm up himself, but he being annoyed a bit. Obviously there is Xepher there with the Fisher trying to block him off from the creep wave. yamaTeh will be there on the silencer though. That arcane curse spam should quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely so. I think the one issue with this lane up top is that Raven, you know, Terrorblade, he can take right clicks all day.
Just went belly up.
Very nice courier snipe. There was no items on there, mind you, but that golden block, very nice.
Warriors of the wood.
They're not going to have a courier for the next 2 minutes. It's going to be hard to contest this mid lane now. Have that regen coming in. They will try to punish 1437 at the bot lane, and it looks like he will just end up dropping here. Ohaiyo managing to get away from there safely. So he gets the courier, but he gives away first block.
Yeah. Still kind of worthwhile. Again, that gold is pretty good from Courier. First Blood is not team-wide as well, so I think overall the Courier is higher value. As you mentioned as well, it slows down mid lane because Chyuaan now has no Courier access, although I think, to be honest, Necrophos is probably one of the few mids that doesn't really care for for Courier access, because it's very self-sufficient.
I have to agree. Chyuaan doesn't. Yeah, he's not going to be bothered by this at all. He managed to get the tangos out anyway before it died, so got that the tangos available if he requires them. Probably on. yamaTeh falling quite low at the top lane. Back off the safety. While bot lane, Ohaiyo.
iNyouRdreaM is really low, forced to use a salve again.
Gold going towards that read frame. Haymaker force slightly behind. Fly up into his end. And he will need to find more. Chyuaan is not going to allow him to just farm here freely. He's going to continue to find this pressure. And yamaTeh again will die to the Dire. But still, you know, he does this on purpose basically just to be able to respawn very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's the smarter play. It does cost you a bit in giving gold away, but you don't sacrifice your respawn time, because dying to neutrals is just really costly now in terms of time wasting.
What on eyyoouu? There to help out eyyoouu if he does initiate. Well, not at that level 6 mark yet, so rotation was slightly early. Probably. I was gonna say back off, but it looks like he's around for a bit. Ohaiyo meanwhile bot lane. He's having a good old time. Doesn't really seem like Doesn't really seem like he needs the help of the task. Might go on 1437 soon. eyyoouu is Firefly, committed as well. Nice. That strike didn't damage Ohaiyo. Got that bounty rune, that's really all he wanted, and now they might turn around for 1437.
Warriors of the wood.
eyyoouu, he does have the snowball, and he has a regeneration, so he can afford to take this kind of
Radiant's
harassment.
bottom tower is under attack.
That is a lot of bottles in one lane.
Yeah.
Ohaiyo's a bottle. Tusk has a bottle. I mean, how do you keep them top up?
They can. Ohaiyo, he can creep wave over. So it's making Ahjit's life a hell of a lot harder. Although eyyoouu might end up dropping. They run back because they assume the snowball's on them, but it's not. eyyoouu though, he just stood still for a bit. So he somehow manages to get out of there safely anyway.
Oh, 1437.
Problem is Ohaiyo is there with that another creep skip. eyyoouu, I don't know how he just walked out. Like really, how does he actually manage to just get out of there safe?
You know, I'm actually not sure. I think it was odd because he hesitated to walk a bit, and I thought that might be enough to get one right click off, but then he also had like 2 charges left in his bottle. Top lane though.
Yeah. Gonna have to go. They're gonna be fine. Raven will also be fine. Now eyyoouu is here as well. The snowball will be there on the Earthshaker. Will it actually connect? No, it will not, but the shards will. Fisher is there, but he blocks himself into the actual shards. He will try to TP out, and he will do so successfully. eyyoouu already commits that snowball, so there was no further stun left. Meanwhile, Ohaiyo ends up dropping at the bot lane, and we see iNyouRdreaM making his first rotation. Did commit the boat for that, but it's well worth it. Ohaiyo slow down that blink dagger time quite a lot.
Yeah. And you know, this is the tendency that iNyouRdreaM has. When he hits level 6, he doesn't ask for a support rotation to mid, he himself rotates to the side lanes, which is, you know, this is something you came to expect from your mid laner way before. Maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago in pubs. That's what the mid laners did. And now, they usually have the support rotate in, but iNyouRdreaM still keeps doing that himself, getting plays done by himself.
Top lane, bit of a mistake from eyyoouu. He missed the shards on Moonmeander, and now he might lose his own life because of it. Trying to make a run for it. Xepher is there with the enchant totem here, and the Fisher as well. Definitely will pick that one up for himself. Of course, any kill for Xepher right now is going to help a lot because he's trying to farm a Xepher of his own. Meanwhile, bot lane, Ahjit actually chasing the Batrider into the Batrider form, and Ahjit will find the kill. Ohaiyo with the double knots. It was pretty hilarious using Napalm and Firefly against the Batrider. Meanwhile,
Yeah, that's balanced.
yeah, top lane, Raven getting very, very low. He does have the Sunder Snowball if they want to Sunder Moonmeander immediately, and they will do so. Raven, he's still in massive trouble, but eyyoouu should be able to get the kill. In fact, Raven does now. He wants to get out, but the Fisher barely connects. Xepher, he has to get out of his safety now as well. yamaTeh is there with the Arcane Curse, but now he's in trouble. He does want through it. That'll be it. All for a core. I think it works out a bit better for Tigers anyway, though. You definitely want the Terrorblade over the top now.
Yeah, it definitely works out a bit better for Tigers here. Slowing down this Terrorblade's farm is really pertinent. You don't want him to get too much HP early on. Don't want to let him buy those kinds of items early, so really pertinent there.
Top lane, eyyoouu trying to dodge the gank.
Dyer's top
They're
tower
fucking
needs
chase.
some bread.
Oh boy.
Free instinct, very frustrating. eyyoouu looks like he will end up dropping. They get the T1 as well. Ohaiyo meanwhile drops bot lane, and eyyoouu still alive, but he will finally end up dying. And Ohaiyo again dies second time to iNyouRdreaM at the Morphers. You know, you talked about how iNyouRdreaM makes those rotations instead of waiting for his supports. I like that old school. I personally like it. It brings back some good memories.
Radiant's middle
Therefore,
tower
top
is
lane.
under attack.
Dyer's
Napalm's
top
coming up from
tower
Ohaiyo.
is under attack.
Level 6 mark, so he hasn't even got the lasso yet. Again, that blink dagger timing, it's gonna hurt a bit for him because, well, he's died twice. in the last minute.
Yeah, it definitely hurts your timing like that, and doesn't even really have a jungle to go back to because his Terrorblade is clearing that out himself as well.
Dire's bottom tower is under
One, they're trying to go after Ahjit, but eyyoouu is in trouble. Snowball is there. The Reapers is available, but Ahjit is quite hard to kill. He is streaking more than throughout all this now. Run him up. Good.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
7-2 Tigers with a very nice lead early on. And again, you look at that net worth lead, they've got it once again in game 2. That 5k net worth lead very early on. It's problematic, especially because Lotac, they don't necessarily have the later game draft this time around, so they can't just try and be defensive and drag out the game again. It's not going to work this time.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, the Terrorblade is a pretty good carry as well. It's not the biggest late game carry though. It does carry its own issues as well. And here we are, my pauses. Oh, that was quick. Yeah, really unfortunate, Mike. Take a look at this Morphling, Mike. Right now it's a Tusk. And I mean, how many escape tools can a Morphling have? 4. Right now he has around 3. Shards are great, snowballs there, and waveforms there. And that's really balanced, Mike.
Yes, mid lane, they are going to be able to find the Necro, so Chyuaan getting ganked up, and they might just push this mid lane with the Pugna. Creeps are there for the Nate's pocket as well. No backup protection for these ones, and they'll get started immediately. yamaTeh is there with eyyoouu, but they can't defend this on their own. They need at least 1 core to help them out here. And it looks like they aren't cupping. Now yamaTeh going to be in trouble. Snowball does not get there in time, but yamaTeh will be alright. Now the Fisher as well.
Dire's middle tower just got knocked down.
Quick smoke coming out straight away. Tigers, look who they're going to run into. Poor Ohaiyo is there trying to farm up. Meanwhile, 1437 apparently going down to Raven on that Terrorblade.
Scanning for enemies.
Ohaiyo, I wonder if he realizes how much trouble he's in right now. Well, now he definitely does, because he's been X'd up by iNyouRdreaM. Gets stunned up with the torrent, and Moonmeander will just suck him dry. Killing spree for the Pugna. And I'd hate to say it for the 3rd time, but that Blink Dagger delayed even.
Yeah, it's not going to be good timing for this Blink. I mean, Ohaiyo just has no space to farm right now. Again, Raven is the priority. They're giving him most of the safe jungle to farm up. Ohaiyo has to take these risky moves in the larger jungle where they've already lost their tier 1. So they don't really have too much control there. And I mean, that's the way it has to go. The Terrorblade definitely takes priority.
Xepher, forward out, Raven. After the find himself a nice pick off the back note, they'll use the Reapers to get that one.
Dire's top tower
Chyuaan
is
will pick that one
about
up for
to take
himself.
the plunge.
Note that the Rod of Atos is the item choice of the same. Be able to deal with that more, I'd assume. Even the Earthshaker later on is quite useful. That top lane, Ohaiyo, managed to get Moonmeander. They looks like they committed that lasso this time around.
Dire's bottom tower won't last long.
Radiant's middle tower.
You know, the pace of this game is starting to remind me of game 1, Mike. You kind of saw the same thing happen. Tigers won the early game, but if they give these kind of senseless kills away again, I mean, Ohio's just, what, 500 gold away from Blink? And once he has that up, I think he's happy.
All you need. Start to escalate once that pick is available. Ahjit diving quite deep for yamaTeh. He does not get him. The Warrior's Punch is there. Shards will end up connecting. A nice small from Ahjit. Now can he get out though? Chyuaan will get snowballed on. The boat comes in as well. It will connect on Chyuaan. Ahjit still fighting around in that morph form. And Chyuaan is starting to fall very, very low, although he does get himself up. But here comes Moonmeander on that Pugna. And Chyuaan somehow alive still through all this, but he is going to end up dropping eventually. And now the tier 2 bot tower will be the target. And it will be a very easy target for our Tigers to take down.
Yeah, it doesn't take them too long to push down towers now. Again, with that Pugna, with Nature's Prophet, it's pretty fast push coming out. And that does kind of make up for the fact that they did lose a couple of, they did give away a couple of senseless kills. They've gotten the entirety of the bot lane now. They have a nice ward out as well, although that was spotted out by Ohaiyo. Good game sense.
Twelve to 5 now. 6k net worth lead remains. It does look like Ahjit is able to get that Lincoln Spear very, very soon. So the Bat Rider not going to be able to lasso him up that easily. Reaper Scythe as well, going to be a bit of a pain. Like they are looking. eyyoouu trying to find somebody. Dream gonna scout this out. He is in that is right now, and Ohaiyo managed to get the lasso. They want to go straight onto Moonmeander. Meanwhile, on the backlines, they do go after the Earthshaker, and Xepher is in massive, massive trouble. It looks like he would try and fish it through this, but he does end up dropping. They go for even more. Nobody's really left, so 2 go down for nothing. Lotac gonna be very happy about that because.
Yeah, and you know, I can't help but compare this again to Game 1, Mike. We saw the same thing happening. They were behind. They get one key initiation item and one hero, which is Ohio's Blink this time. And then they play around their big cooldowns. They're always going to play around Global Silence now. Tigers needs to adapt and know that when Global Silence is off, they can't fight.
Oh, mate. 1437. Ends up dropping, but Ohaiyo gives his own life away for it. It's hard to know whether these skills are worth it. I mean, that's a position 5 nature's pocket down for the safety of the 3 Bat Rider. It certainly doesn't seem very worthwhile for Ohaiyo to take that kill.
Yeah, he still gained gold in the end, but he gave a bit more to Moon plus Mr. iNyouRdreaM, so they get a little bit more out of that.
I find eyyoouu as well on that task. He does have a snowball and he actually goes up the ancients, but no! It drops him back down!
He was X-marked anyway.
Yeah.
You know he was gonna get out of that one.
It's a nice play though. Shard the ancient, get the vision, but still, like you said, it was inevitable that he was going to end up dropping.
Under attack.
Yeah. Kind of unfortunate though that the snowball actually didn't drag him up as well. Just by the clip.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Oh, look at that. Moonmeander is just standing at the back, dropping down the nether blast, and that tower just melts.
Why, right? Like, why risk your team?
Yeah, that's really the power of Pugna. Oh, you know, Chyuaan.
Oh, well, the last one comes in to help out, so Chyuaan available for the moment. Nice shot! What's everyone in the boat?
Oh no,
help out. 1437. He will end up dropping now. iNyouRdreaM going after eyyoouu. Ohaiyo, there's the global silence. eyyoouu should end up dropping, and he will, and it looks like Lotac. They can't follow up on the silence. Now Chyuaan just trying to back off the safety. The life drain is there, the X was there as well. Bishop barely connects, and Chyuaan, he will end up dropping to Ahjit. It looked so bad for Tigers once that shards came out into the global silence, Sean, but they just could not finish them off. And you know what? I just realized Raven wasn't involved in that team fight at all. He's still just trying to farm the Manta.
I think that's fine. I think you don't want to risk your Terrorblade being in that fight because he has such little HP and there's so much magic damage coming out from Tigers that it's a big risk dragging out your Terrorblade there. If you can take a fight 4v5, take it. Because you want your Terrorblade to grow bigger for it a bit more. I think the...
Oh my goodness. Oh, they give it the echo.
Ohaiyo.
Yeah. You can blink, sir, but you ran back in and you gave the opening. Xepher says thank you very much.
You know, in that last fight by this ramp, Mike, this ramp by the tier 2, I think the key issue was that the shards was amazing. Ohaiyo threw them out with a flame break.
Oh, did he really? I didn't spot that.
They were inside, and then he pushed 2 of them out. They could have cleaned up.
They've done eyyoouu as well in the mid lane, and he just, Moonmeander with that life drain just doing so much damage with the Decrepify.
Roots and run.
Things are getting better and better for Tigers. Raven just trying to hide in some trees right now.
Raven?
They're gonna spot him.
Oh no.
He runs towards the shrine. The visual is there though, Xepher. Can they burst it? The Manta is there. Ohaiyo to save the day. The Metamorphosis they'll take it. Earthshaker. Now Moonmeander actually gets him, just barely. Chyuaan trying to find the return, but here comes iNyouRdreaM with the bow torrent. He actually screws up the X though. Pressed it way too early. Meanwhile, 1437 ended up dropping in the backlines again to Ohaiyo.
Dire's middle tower is under
Chyuaan
attack.
managed to walk out of there. Again, a small mistake from iNyouRdreaM
Dire's
on
middle
that,
tower
on that
has
E button a
fallen.
bit too quick.
Yeah, I mean, he felt like he had to go fast. I think that's fair enough. Really unfortunate Raven had to die there. He had Sunder up. I almost feel like it would have been worthwhile to swap his HP with Chyuaan. I think Terribly definitely takes the priority right now. I think I would have actually not blamed him if he let Chyuaan die instead. You want your Terribly to be keeping up.
Speaking of dying, Ohaiyo ends up dying top lane. He was trying to push that creep wave out, but he's unsuccessful in doing so. Two bounties top to be taken as well by the side of Tigers. They will smoke up. Question is, who are they really going to find? Does appear Chyuaan might be on the menu.
Radiant are scanning.
yamaTeh is there. He places an observer ward. Gotta know Chyuaan is around there somewhere. Therefore, around for yamaTeh's team. Find nobody. I'm probably not realizing how close to death he just was. Now they're gonna focus on the tier 3 tower. Why the hell not?
Yeah, and you know, again, with that Pugna, it's a relatively safe push.
Radiant's bottom tower
I mean, look at
Down
that.
by half HP. Now the X torrent again. It's missed though. yamaTeh walks out of it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Why is he Xing so quickly? Like, is he afraid of the global silence? Or?
I think that might be it. That constant fear puts him on edge, which
But wouldn't it just be worth it to wait?
I suppose it would be, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the mindset. The only thing I can think of is, yeah, maybe global silence. Maybe he's worried about them blinking out or snowballing for the save, so he just tries to break that combination immediately, and you know,
Dire
hope for the
are
best.
scanning for enemies.
Lotac guys are on the offensive now. Ohaiyo already stuck somebody in that tree line, but they are all across
Radiant's
the map.
bottom tower is under attack.
So, side of Tigers, they might just go for a quick Roshan.
Radiant's bottom tower has rung its
Bot
last
will end
bell.
up dropping in Raven. He might just keep pushing the tier 3. If they realize the Roshan's being taken, it's just get into Metamorphosis and force them back. The Roshan, though, is going down fairly quickly. And they are not going to push the tier 3 bot, which indicates they have no clue what's going on.
Faces a stiff
That Roshan going to be given away for free on the side of Tigers. Ahjit really going to enjoy that, considering he's almost unkillable as it stands already. And now you've got to try and kill him twice.
regeneration.
Better and better for this Radiant, and I like Lotac. They're still in this game, but it's certainly not as great as last game. Around this time they were coming back, whereas now they're still falling quite behind, at the very least, on that Terror Blade.
Yeah, definitely so. Raven is still about 3k behind Ahjit right now. Not the greatest discrepancy you want. I feel like the power spike for Raven here is that BKB. If you can get it in the next 5 to 8 minutes, you're going to be able to take a quite fair few fights, because a lot of the damage coming out right now from Tigers is magic outside of the Morphling. Most of it is magic, so once you have that BKB, they can't really control Terrorblade up, and Morphling will have to eat through a lot of armor to kill off Terrorblade.
Lotac drop there by the shrine. Just waiting out. And they smoke up.
Dire's middle tower
Has actually ended up going down thanks to Moonmeander, and they'll loop around here. Lotac, they understand they're going to take a fight sooner rather than later. iNyouRdreaM, he breaks the smoke. He hasn't realized yet though. And have they yet? Xepher, who's going to be the target? Oh, iNyouRdreaM, what a blink out! And now Ahjit, he'll get started on Ohaiyo. This looks really bad for the side of Lotac. Moonmeander getting very, very low. They'll eventually get Raven though, and now Moonmeander, he starts life upgrading. Ahjit on a triple kill, they call GG.
24 minutes in?
Did you? Oh, I mean, come on. Did you see iNyouRdreaM? He blinked out immediately after Ohaiyo blinked in to try to lasso him, and then it was just like, what can you do? They're gonna push way too fast.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's just, you know, it's very different from game one, wasn't it? Like, I feel like they have to work on their draft a bit because Lotac plays a lot better when they, you know, they have a big team fight they could work around. Right now, in this game, they really only had a lot of great single target control. The only big, you know, AoE kind of crowd control they had was like Global Silence, I guess, if you could consider that control. Maybe Snowball. Otherwise, most of it was really single target. If they can get something that can force team fights, I think you'd be much happier with the result. But, you know, very well played from Tigers. They really just, yeah, this was pretty convincing, Mike. 24-11, 24 minutes in, 13k network lead, and they just forced the tap out.